Berlin's confidence trap. It was built on discipline, restraint, and hard-earned credibility. For years, it worked exactly as intended, and that success became the danger. In Berlin, confidence did not crack. It quietly overreached. To understand why this trap mattered, we need to look at how credibility transforms into assumption. Germany had positioned itself as Europe's anchor. Fiscal restraint, institutional strength, and political stability created trust that extended far beyond borders. Markets did not just respect German policy, they relied on it. That reliance still shapes Europe's balance today. The story begins after the storms had passed. Crises were contained, reforms implemented. Germany emerged not only intact, but reinforced. Its signals carried weight. When Berlin was calm, markets relaxed. When Berlin hesitated, others adjusted. Confidence became contagious. Inside Germany, that confidence felt earned. Rules had been followed. Warnings had been issued early in past cycles. Prudence had paid off. The system appeared resilient not because risks were ignored, but because they were managed methodically. That history shaped perception. But confidence changes behavior. Policymakers grew accustomed to markets accepting their timelines. Investors assumed Germany would always act as stabilizer of last resort, even when it resisted the label. Discipline was interpreted as capacity. Restraint was priced as strength. Early signs appeared quietly. German positions became reference points rather than participants. When Berlin delayed, markets waited. When it spoke, markets aligned. This deference reduced volatility, but it also concentrated expectation. Inside policy debates, this dynamic went largely unquestioned. Germany did not seek leadership. It inherited it through consistency. But leadership by reputation carries risk. When everyone waits for one signal, the cost of delay rises. The confidence trap forms slowly. Markets stopped pricing uncertainty around Germany's response. They priced continuity. Stability became the baseline assumption rather than an outcome to be maintained. And when confidence shifts from trust to dependency, it stops protecting the system. It begins shaping it, quietly, asymmetrically, and with consequences that only appear once conditions change. Berlin's confidence trap was not about excess. It was about belief hardened into expectation. And expectations, once set, can constrain even the most disciplined actors. The trap tightened as expectations accumulated. Each period of calm reinforced a belief that Germany would always anchor the system. Markets waited for Berlin's signal before moving decisively. Volatility softened, but so did initiative elsewhere. The system leaned toward a single center. Inside Germany, this was not fully visible. Policy remained cautious. Debates were rigorous. Decisions were weighed carefully. Yet the external effect was magnified. What felt like prudence domestically functioned as delay internationally. Other governments adjusted behavior accordingly. National responses slowed as actors waited for German alignment. Coordination became indirect, routed through expectation rather than dialogue. This reduced friction during calm periods, but also narrowed the path forward under stress. Investors reinforced the pattern. Risk was priced as if German intervention, formal or informal, would arrive before disorder. Assets aligned with German preference enjoyed confidence premiums. Divergence carried cost. The market had crowned a reference point without consent. Regulators noticed the asymmetry. Dependence on a single anchor created fragility. If Berlin hesitated at the wrong moment, the system would stall. If it acted too forcefully, it would absorb responsibility it had never sought. Either path carried risk. The confidence trap was not that Germany would fail. It was that Germany would be expected to move first, always. That expectation concentrated pressure and limited flexibility. When one actor becomes a hinge, timing becomes everything. Early stress tests did not reveal the issue. Balance sheets were strong. Liquidity was ample. The trap existed in behavior, not numbers. Confidence had shifted from distributed to centralized. And centralized confidence is efficient. Until it isn't. It works until a moment when conditions demand simultaneous action from multiple actors, not deference to one. The system had grown accustomed to waiting for Berlin. That habit reduced volatility, but it also reduced resilience. And resilience, unlike calm, is only tested under strain. The strain appeared when timing began to matter more than principle. External pressure rose unevenly across Europe. Some systems tightened quickly, others waited, and many waited for Berlin. Markets searched for a signal that did not come immediately. Germany assessed conditions carefully, weighing long-term credibility against short-term reassurance. What felt responsible inside Berlin felt uncertain outside it. The pause stretched expectations thin. As the wait continued, behavior shifted. Institutions stopped anticipating coordination and began preparing independently. Liquidity was conserved. Risk was trimmed, not because Germany was expected to fail, but because reliance on one signal had become uncomfortable. Inside European forums, frustration surfaced quietly. Informal alignment stalled. Without Berlin's position clarified, consensus could not fully form. The anchor that had stabilized the system now slowed it. Germany felt the pressure too, acting too early risked validating dependency it had never wanted. Acting too late risked confirming the very hesitation markets feared. The confidence trap revealed its final shape. Credibility had turned into constraint. When Germany finally spoke, it did so deliberately. The signal was measured, conditional, and firm. It did not promise rescue. It clarified limits. Markets reacted with adjustment rather than relief. Volatility rose briefly, then settled. The outcome exposed the trap clearly. Confidence centered on a single actor compresses time. It forces moments of decision to carry disproportionate weight. Even the most disciplined system struggles when expected to stabilize others before stabilizing itself. Berlin had not mismanaged risk. It had inherited expectation. And that expectation demanded resolution once conditions changed. The confidence trap did not break Europe's system, but it forced a realization. Stability cannot rely on one reference point forever. When confidence concentrates, resilience dissipates. And once that imbalance is revealed, the system must relearn how to move together, without waiting for one voice to speak first. The adjustment was quiet, but decisive. Germany did not abandon its role. It redefined it. Signals became clearer, but less central. Coordination was encouraged rather than implied. The anchor loosened without being removed. Markets adapted gradually. Expectations dispersed. Investors stopped waiting for a single cue and began pricing multiple outcomes again. Volatility returned in small, manageable waves. Confidence became distributed rather than concentrated. Other governments stepped forward more visibly. National initiatives resumed. Collective mechanisms were activated earlier, without deferring to Berlin's posture. The system regained motion, not because Germany withdrew, but because others stopped waiting. Inside Germany, the shift brought relief. Credibility remained intact, but pressure eased. Discipline could function without carrying the weight of everyone else's stability. The trap dissolved not through rejection, but through rebalancing. Berlin's confidence trap left behind a clear lesson. Credibility is powerful, but it must circulate. When trust pools too deeply in one place, it becomes a bottleneck. Stability depends not on a single anchor, but on shared responsibility. Europe did not lose its center. It regained its periphery. Resilience returned through diversity of action rather than unity of expectation. The system moved forward more slowly, but more honestly. Confidence no longer assumed who would act first. It focused on how actors would respond together. And that distinction matters. Because in complex systems, stability is not created by the strongest voice, but by many voices moving in time. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future. Berlin